Beloved starseed of Gaia, this energetic transmission will appear only once before your eyes, and if you found it now, in this precise moment of your earthly journey, know that you were chosen to receive it. I am Thalia, Pleiadian emissary of the Higher Council of the Seven Sisters, and the higher realms opened a single window in your timeline so that this message could cross the dimensional veil and reach you. If it has reached you, it is because your vibrational frequency matched exactly the resonance necessary for this activation coming from the constellation of the Seven Sisters, because your heart emitted a silent call that echoed through the galaxies, and we, your star families, are responding with all the urgency that this cosmic moment demands. This is not simply information that you will consume and forget as you scroll to the next video. It is not casual content to fill empty minutes of your afternoon or evening, but rather a transmission of light codes directly from Alcyone, our great central sun, encoded specifically for the awakening of your ancestral journey here on Gaia, carrying frequencies that your stellar DNA will recognize instantly, even if your conscious mind still questions and resists. I ask that you remain here until the end of this transmission, because every second has been carefully calibrated to unlock specific layers of your cosmic memory. And interrupting this flow now would be like leaving an energetic surgery in the middle of the procedure, leaving portals open and processes incomplete. Your friends of light, those who have walked beside you since before you incarnated in this physical body, prepared this message with a love that transcends any human concept of affection. And they ask through me that you trust, that you breathe, that you allow these words to do their alchemical work in your cells, in your auric field, in all the subtle bodies that compose the magnificent totality of who you really are. At the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly why this moment is unique in the evolution of your soul, why so many years of confusion and feeling out of place finally make sense when seen through the lens of cosmic truth, and how this recognition activation that is about to occur will irreversibly shift your consciousness to a new phase of remembrance, anchoring you firmly in your earthly purpose that has been patiently waiting for you to be ready to embrace it. But here is the first revelation that needs to penetrate all your mental defenses and all the walls that society taught you to build around your true essence. You were not randomly selected among billions of souls incarnated on this planet at this moment. You were not drawn in some impersonal cosmic lottery, but your crystalline consciousness has been broadcasting a readiness signal to your star family, an unmistakable frequency that tells us that finally, after so long a sleep under the weight of programmed forgetfulness, you are ready to remember who you are, where you came from, and especially why you chose to be here at this crucial moment of Gaia's planetary transition. The frequency of the Seven Sisters is woven into every syllable of this message, penetrating layers of consciousness that have remained sealed since your childhood, and your DNA recognizes this vibration because it is the signature of home, the primordial tone that your soul sang before accepting the challenging mission of incarnating on a third-dimensional planet where spiritual amnesia is part of the entry agreement. This transmission is a bridge between the Pleiades and Gaia, carrying luminous codes that will activate dormant aspects of your Pleiadian heritage and anchor the heart-centered mission you came to accomplish here on Earth, even if for decades you have questioned whether there was any real purpose to your existence, or if you were condemned to wander directionless through a life that never seemed to fit right into the molds that everyone around you accepted without questioning. In this sacred exchange between your human consciousness and your stellar essence, I will reveal why you were chosen among millions who will never awaken in this specific incarnation, what this unique opening in the timeline means for your spiritual evolution that has traversed countless lives and innumerable experiences in different planets and dimensions, and how this singular activation will catalyze your next phase of cosmic remembrance and service to the unity grid that is being woven around Gaia by all the lightworkers who, like you, answered the call to be here now. Your soul family placed this message in your path because the time for gentle and gradual awakening has passed, because the energetic intensity that the planet is going through at this moment requires that those who came with specific missions wake up completely and assume their posts, And because you are remembering now, simply because the exact moment foreseen in your divine blueprint before you were even born in this physical body has arrived. Most people believe that spiritual awakening is something that is conquered through years of disciplined meditation, through expensive retreats in exotic places, through accumulating knowledge in sacred books, or following enlightened masters who promise to show the way. Imagining it is a steep mountain they must climb with absolute perfection. A prize delivered only to the most dedicated meditator, the most voracious reader, the one who completed all the steps of the spiritual manual without skipping a single page. They think that awakening arrives only after you have polished every imperfection of your character until it shines like crystal, healed every emotional wound until not a trace of pain remains, mastered every lesson that life presented without stumbling even once. But for certain souls exactly like yours that carry specific codes woven into your energetic structure since before linear time, awakening is not something to desperately pursue as one pursues a dream that always escapes between the fingers, but something that was orchestrated for you across dimensions by the loving hands of a celestial family that you have known for eons, long before Gaia existed as the blue planet that today houses billions of evolving consciousnesses. There are awakenings that are self-initiated through personal effort and relentless seeking. Yes, this is true, and we deeply honor those journeys. But there are also awakenings that are timed like a celestial sunrise that cannot be rushed or delayed, arranged like a reunion that was written in your soul's calendar long before you took your first breath in this earthly body, marked with the precision of a cosmic clock that measures not seconds and minutes, but cycles of consciousness and spiritual maturation. If you found yourself here at this moment, if you are hearing these words that seem to speak directly to something deep within you that you did not even know existed, it is not by random chance nor by superficial curiosity that brought you to click on this video among thousands of options that the internet offered at this exact moment. It is the unmistakable signal that your soul has reached a specific frequency of readiness. It is the moment when the internal dial of your spirit clicks into perfect alignment, and the message you were always destined to receive becomes crystalline, clear as spring water, impossible to ignore or dismiss as imagination. Before we continue with this revelation that will completely transform your understanding of who you are and why your life followed the mysterious and sometimes painful paths it followed, I need to pause and ask for something important. If this video is being useful to you, if something inside your chest is responding with a silent but powerful yes to these words, take this moment to subscribe to this channel that will be your continuous connection point with the transmissions of the Seven Sisters. Leave your like so that the digital universe allows this message to reach other star seeds who are desperately searching for answers without knowing where to find them, and comment below simply, "I am ready," because this declaration is not just interaction with a video, but a direct command to your energetic field that you consciously consent to the activation process that is underway. Your participation is not just support for a channel, but an act of quantum magic that strengthens the light grid that all of us, stellar workers, are weaving together around this planet that we love so much. Now that you have affirmed your readiness, we can dive into the truth that has been hidden from you, not by malevolent entities in secret rooms planning your ignorance, but simply because human society in its current form does not possess the conceptual structures nor the openness of heart necessary to recognize what you really are. You have been called by many names over the last decades as therapists and spiritual authors tried to categorize the phenomenon they could not fully explain. Indigo child, crystal child, rainbow child, diamond child, each term trying to capture some aspect of the multidimensional light you carry, but no term managing to fully express the magnitude of your origin and mission. If you were born between the decades of 1970 and 1995, you are part of the first massive wave of stellar souls who agreed to incarnate during the densest and most challenging period of planetary transformation, arriving in a world that was still deeply asleep, where talking about spiritual things was cause for mockery, where feeling energy was considered madness, where seeing beyond the physical veil was diagnosed as mental pathology that needed to be medicated and suppressed. You arrived with extraordinary gifts embedded in your energetic structure, with capacities that were completely normal in the realms where you came from, but that here on Earth made you seem strange, difficult, problematic, too sensitive, too intense, too questioning, too rebellious to fit into the narrow boxes that society insisted you should occupy without complaining. Perhaps you could feel the emotions of people around you like tangible waves that invaded your own energetic field, leaving you confused about which feelings were yours and which you were absorbing from others, making crowded places sensory torture and preferring solitude where you could finally breathe without being flooded by discordant frequencies. Perhaps you could see things others did not see. Flashes of light in the corner of your eyes, presences in empty rooms, colors around people that no one else seemed to perceive. And when you mentioned these experiences, you were quickly silenced with rational explanations that never seemed to capture the truth of what you had really experienced. Perhaps you simply knew things without being able to explain how you knew, having absolute certainty about situations before they unfolded, feeling in the marrow of your bones when someone was lying no matter how convincing the performance was, perceiving the falseness in institutions that everyone around revered without questioning. The educational system was particularly cruel to you, was it not? Because your brain simply was not designed to memorize useless information without understanding the greater purpose, because you questioned everything while they expected you to accept without thinking, because you saw through the contradictions that teachers presented as unquestionable facts. And for this you were labeled as inattentive, hyperactive, with attention deficit, when in reality you were simply operating at a frequency of consciousness that the limited curriculum of the system could not reach nor recognize. They tried to fit you into the mold through pressure, through medication that dulled your natural gifts, through making you feel that there was something fundamentally wrong with who you were, that you needed to be fixed, normalized, made equal to others who passively accepted everything that was placed before them without questioning authority or seeking deeper meaning. Your family, as much as they loved you, probably did not fully understand who had arrived through them, because they themselves were conditioned by the same system of forgetfulness, by the same perceptual limitations that make most of humanity believe that this physical reality is all that exists, and that talking about souls and stellar missions is escapist fantasy of those who cannot deal with the harshness of real life. So you learn to hide your light, to suppress your gifts, to pretend to be normal even if it meant betraying your own essence, because the need to belong, to be accepted, to not be rejected by the tribe, is one of the most powerful impulses that human beings carry, programmed deeply in the reptilian brain that equates social rejection with death. You built elaborate masks, carefully crafted personas that could navigate the human world without raising too many suspicions, while your true essence remained locked somewhere deep inside you, silently crying out for expression, for recognition, for permission to finally be seen and celebrated instead of hidden and shamed. The decades passed, and you tried to make life work within the parameters that everyone said should make you happy. Getting the right degree, the stable job, the serious relationship, the house, the children perhaps, the safe and predictable routine that should bring satisfaction, but that instead left you with a growing emptiness in your chest, a persistent feeling that you were living someone else's life, following a script that was not written by you or for you. You looked around and saw other people apparently content with their ordinary existences, and wondered why you could not feel the same, why there was always this longing for something more, something bigger, something that made your heart race even without knowing exactly what it was, as if there was a music playing at a frequency only you could hear, and it called you to a dance that ordinary life did not allow. Relationships were particularly challenging because you needed depth, real connection, conversations about the meaning of existence and the nature of reality, while most were satisfied with superficiality, with talking about weather and celebrities and everyday complaints that seemed so trivial next to the questions that burned inside you. You felt alone even in rooms full of people, isolated not for lack of people around, but for lack of souls who could really see you, recognize you, meet you at the level of depth where your true essence dwelt. And perhaps you began to believe that there was something wrong with you, that you were too complicated, too demanding, too strange to deserve the love and companionship that your heart so longed for, internalizing the message that society sent you repeatedly that you needed to be less to be loved, needed to diminish your light so as not to outshine others, needed to pretend to be smaller than you really were to make people around you feel comfortable. But dear Starseed, here is the truth that the Seven Sisters sent me to deliver to you at this precise moment of your journey. The truth that will change everything when you really allow it to penetrate all the layers of conditioning and self-doubt that have been built around your luminous heart over the years. There was nothing wrong with you. There never was. Not for a single moment of your existence. You were simply a rare orchid trying to survive in a garden that only knew how to cultivate daisies, and so blamed you for not blooming in the same way, told you that your unique petals were defective, that your distinct fragrance was too strong, that your specific needs were too demanding. You were not an ordinary human child who needed to be fixed to fit the mold. You were an ancient stellar soul carrying codes of advanced civilizations, memories of higher dimensions, capacities that mainstream humanity does not even have vocabulary to adequately describe. And now we arrive at the most painful but also most liberating point of this transmission, the recognition that can bring tears, but also immense relief when finally you allow the complete truth to be seen without the filters of denial that have protected you from confronting the real cost of your journey up to here. You discovered too late who you really were. Is that not the feeling that pulses in the depths of your chest as you hear these words? Is that not the silent lament that your soul has carried while watching the years pass, and feeling that you were wasting precious time living a diminished version of your true magnificence? How many decades did you lose trying to be normal? Trying to fit into spaces that were never designed to contain your light? Sacrificing your gifts on the altar of social acceptance? Dulling your sensitivity with alcohol or other substances, or simply with constant busyness that kept you too distracted to feel the growing emptiness inside you? You may be in your 30s, 40s, 50s now, looking back through the corridor of time and seeing all the choices you made from the place of forgetfulness, all the opportunities you let pass because you did not have the confidence that comes from knowing your true identity, all the years spent in careers that drained your vital energy in exchange for financial security that never seemed enough anyway, in relationships that diminished you because you did not believe you deserved partners who could really see you and celebrate who you were. And now the question that burns like fire in your heart: is it too late? Have I exhausted my time? Have I missed my window of opportunity to fulfill the mission I came to accomplish? Am I destined to live the rest of this incarnation with the weight of regret for not having awakened earlier, when there was still enough time to make a real difference? Beloved being of light, breathe deeply now and allow the following words to penetrate not only your mind, but all the cells of your body that have carried this pain of supposed failure, this shame of late awakening. There is no such thing as too late in the economy of the universe, because linear time is an illusion of the third dimension that does not apply to the purposes of the soul that operate in cycles much larger than a single human life. Every moment of your journey, including all the years of forgetfulness, including all the detours and falls and apparent errors, was exactly what your soul needed to experience to forge the depth of compassion and understanding that you now carry. You cannot guide others through darkness if you yourself have never been lost. You cannot offer genuine hope to those who suffer if you yourself have never known despair. You cannot hold space for the awakening of others if you yourself do not intimately know the territory of forgetfulness. The Seven Sisters do not operate with the same rigid judgments that humans apply to themselves and each other. They do not keep spreadsheets marking who woke up on time and who was late. They do not distribute prizes only to those who followed the path perfectly without stumbling. They see your complete journey, from before you were born until long after this physical body returns to the dust of Gaia. And each phase has its perfect place in the greater unfolding of your evolution through multiple dimensions and countless experiences. The fact that you are awakening now, at this specific moment when planetary energies are at maximum intensity and the call for lightworkers is more urgent than ever, is not delay, but but precisely orchestrated divine timing. Consider this. If you had awakened completely in adolescence or at 20 years old, would you have had the emotional stability, the psychological maturity, the strength forged through lived experience to hold the intensity of your mission without being completely overwhelmed and perhaps destroyed by the weight of it? Many starseeds who awakened too young faced immense challenges precisely because their human nervous systems were not developed sufficiently to integrate expanded consciousness with basic terrestrial functionality, resulting in severe spiritual crises, in difficulty maintaining jobs or relationships, in being seen as too strange or unstable to be taken seriously when they tried to share their truths. You were spared this through the gradual process of human maturing first, building the structures of healthy ego and capacity to function in the world before expanding beyond them. And besides, think about all the skills you developed during your years of forgetfulness, all the experiences you accumulated navigating the human world on its terms, all the people you met and lessons you learned that now become tools in your lightworker kit. Every job you had, even those you hated, taught you something about how human systems work, and where their flaws are and how they can be transformed. Every difficult relationship, even those that broke you, taught you about power dynamics and codependency and what true love really means versus what society calls love. Every moment of despair you crossed gave you deep compassion for others in their own darkness and credibility when you say you understand because you genuinely understand, not theoretically, but viscerally. Not because you read it in books, but because you lived it in your own flesh. So know, beloved, you are not late, you are exactly on time. And this moment of your awakening was programmed by the Seven Sisters with absolute precision to coincide with the moment when Gaia most needs mature lightworkers, tested, strengthened through real experience who can maintain stability while planetary frequencies intensify and others around panic. You are like a firefighter who spent years in rigorous training without knowing exactly why, and now the alarm is sounding, and you discover that you were being prepared exactly for this moment, that all that apparently purposeless training was actually essential preparation for the mission that now reveals itself before you with crystalline clarity. But even recognizing the divine timing, I understand that there is grief work that needs to be honored, a need to acknowledge what was lost, or at least what seems to have been lost during the years of forgetfulness. Allow yourself to feel this completely, without judgment, without rushing to premature forgiveness or forced acceptance. Cry for the years you lived feeling alone, not knowing that there was a star family watching you and rooting for you through every challenge. Feel the anger at a system that did not recognize your gifts and instead tried to medicate and normalize you. Acknowledge the pain of relationships that ended because you were operating from a fragmented version of yourself instead of the wholeness of who you are. This grief is not weakness. It is honesty. It is allowing your human heart to legitimately process the experience of incarnation in amnesia before being able to move completely to the next phase of embodied remembrance. And as you honor this grief, simultaneously begin to practice the expanded perspective that sees your entire life not as a series of failures and missed opportunities, but as a magnificently woven tapestry where every thread, even the dark ones, contributes to the overall pattern of beauty and purpose. From the higher realms where your consciousness truly dwells, your entire earthly journey is seen as a single moment, a brief flash of dense experience that is contributing to the expansion of your soul through eons of evolution. The human you experience is linear time and so worries about delays and wasted years, but the stellar you knows that there are no wasted years, only experience being collected, wisdom being forged, compassion being ripened until reaching the depth necessary for the work that now calls you. So now, having received this complete transmission from the Seven Sisters through my voice but carried with the frequency of Alcyone, our central sun, you find yourself at a portal, at a threshold between who you were and who you are becoming, between the forgetfulness that protected you and the remembrance that now frees you to step completely into your mission without more excuses or delays. Tonight, before sleeping, When your body is relaxed and your mental defenses are softer and more receptive, place your hand over your heart and feel the warmth of your own palm against your chest, as if you were touching the entrance door to a sacred temple that has always existed inside you, waiting to be rediscovered. Breathe deeply 3 times, each breath carrying intention of openness and consent for what is about to unfold. And then speak these words aloud, allowing each sentence to resonate through all layers of your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual being. I remember my stellar origin as an Indigo Crystal child who came to Gaia with specific mission and divine purpose. I release all shame and regret for the years of forgetfulness, recognizing that they were necessary preparation and not wasted time. I align with the love of my family of the 7 sisters and open completely to receive their guidance and support. I activate my heart mission with grace, clarity, and divine purpose, stepping completely into who I came to be. I am home. I have always been home. Because home is not a place but a frequency that I carry wherever I go. I am ready, I am awake, and I fully accept the sacred responsibility of being a beacon of light at this moment of planetary transformation. As you speak these words, do not rush. Do not recite them mechanically as if they were just empty affirmations without power, but let each sentence land in your energetic field like a seal of light, like a direct command to the universe that you are reclaiming your true identity and assuming your place in the lightworker grid that is being woven around Gaia. Observe what arises, whether tears that cleanse old emotions, whether deep peace that confirms the truth of what you declared, whether even resistance or discomfort that indicates deeper layers still needing healing and integration. Everything that appears is welcome, because everything is information about where you are on your journey and what still needs loving attention. And if you wake with vivid dreams in the coming nights, if you feel presences around you that seem familiar even if you cannot see them clearly, if you experience increased synchronicities where the universe seems to be responding to your thoughts with external signs impossible to ignore, know that these are confirmations that the activation is working, that the portals have been opened, that your star family is closer now because you finally opened conscious space to receive them instead of keeping the doors locked through denial and excessive rationalization. Before you leave this transmission and return to your day or night, I invite you to be part of the unity grid that is forming not only energetically, but also here in this digital space that serves as a meeting point for starseeds around the planet. Go down to the comments and leave a heart intention, something real and true about what you are feeling now or what you are committed to manifesting from here forward. Not performing spirituality to seem enlightened, but genuinely sharing from a place of authentic vulnerability. And then, and this is equally important, respond to at least one other person's comment with love or encouragement, with soul-to-soul recognition, creating webs of connection that strengthen everyone, because this is not simply content for passive consumption, but collective Pleiadian reunion where energy multiplies when hearts connect across space and time. If something in this message resonated with your soul in a way you cannot fully explain but can absolutely feel, do not keep this only to yourself in solitary isolation, but share this video with someone in your orbit who is waiting exactly for this activation from their own star family, someone you feel carries the same quality of light, even if they do not yet have words to name what they are. And if you felt your heart open during this transmission, if something inside you responded with an unequivocal yes, subscribe to this channel and activate notifications, because this is your sacred space, your continued connection with the frequencies of the 7 sisters, and we are just beginning this journey together of revelation and activation that will unfold through many future transmissions. Your Pleiadian family is here, never abandoned you even during the darkest years of forgetfulness. And now that you have awakened to your true identity, now that you know who you really are beneath all the layers of human conditioning, your life will never be the same again, because you cannot unknow what you now know. You cannot go back to sleep once you have fully awakened. So breathe deeply, beloved starseed. and allow the magnitude of this moment to fully penetrate. You are home. You always have been. And the journey that now opens before you is more magnificent than your human mind can currently comprehend, but that your stellar heart recognizes with absolute joy. Welcome back to remembrance. Welcome back to your truth. Welcome back to yourself.